so welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's session. My name is Anu Breitenbach. I'm the director at .colab, and this is a part one of a two-part series where we just do an introduction into BPM, and the other session should follow in the next couple of weeks. All right, so just a little bit about myself. As I mentioned, I'm Hannu Breitenbach. I have more than 10 years implementation and development experience for workflow and business process solutions. I'm a certified BPM for Sage and Sage 300 Cloud consultant. And one of my big passions is data management and how data ties into a business's processes and how we use this data in turn to leverage the data to enable us to solve problems with innovative solutions and out-of-the-box thinking. Right, so let's just quickly discuss a little bit about what defines business process management. So if we look at the definition for business process management is a discipline in operations management in which people use various methods to discover, model, analyze, measure, improve, optimize, and automate business processes. Any combination of methods used to manage a company's business processes is BPM. Now, some people assume that project management forms part of BPM, but the distinguishing factor between the two is always repeatability and predictability. The key is predictability. No matter how many different scenarios we face, we know and understand which steps the process should take based on certain conditions being met. Now, when looking at BPM, there are 5 pillars for BPM. It's design, model, execute, monitor, optimize, and then could go back into design. So let's just spend some time on these 5 pillars. So when we look at the first pillar, design, this is where we would identify and map current processes in a business, and we would then design and map proposed changes. We would then flow into the model section, the model pillar, and this is where we would model a proposed solution based on the design outcomes. Then we move into the execution pillar, where we make use of certain software to enable the proposed models. Then we move into a monitoring phase, where we track any proposed design changes for the process, and then into optimization, where we identify problems and bottlenecks, opportunities, and further enhancements. And then it could go back into design if needed to apply these optimizations for greater cost saving and process efficiency. BPM for Sage as a software product enables us to implement these pillars through our implementation cycle to ensure the best solution for your specific needs. Introducing BPM for Sage, intuitive role-based software process tool that enables you to easily manage business processes to improve productivity and efficiency. BPM provides full procure-to-pay capabilities on all items, regardless of item or expense type, with the added benefit of transparency and visibility on budget statuses whilst initiating or approving transactions. BPM can even incorporate commitments and unapproved commitments to ensure approvers have a holistic view of their respective budgets. BPM for Sage also allows for the management of suppliers and customers with the ability to reconcile and authorize supplier statements and payments. It also gives us the ability to manage payable and receivable contracts by registering and managing billing and payment schedules. Now, some of the highlighted features within BPM for Sage: there's a full mobile application that's at no extra cost. The product also houses field level security, which ensures users dramatically improve on accuracy when capturing by limiting them to data selections that pertain to their allowed security levels. One example of this is only allowing users to see certain GL accounts based on their specific security levels. The system also has flexible forms layouts, which allows you to display only required fields needed by your ERP, and furthermore allows for any additional information entry that cannot be housed within your ERP. The system is also packed with full audit capabilities at a SQL database level, which ensures that auditors can find and follow approvals on all transactions to ensure compliance with company and legislative policies. So part of BPM is we did a little exercise where we went through the certain accounting challenges, what the symptoms are, and how BPM for Sage could have help with the solution. So one accounting challenge is where users bypass procurement processes. The symptom for it would be payments would be made on unauthorized purchase orders. This is where BPM comes in. BPM makes it easy for employers to follow electronic procurement processes, predefined to a business process. Another challenge that we sometimes get is expenditure against budgets are not up to date. Budgets are overspent and visibility of the commitments against the budgets is non-existent. BPM electronically checks budget commitments at the time of requisition and procurement approvals and can display these budgets to you as the user. Requisitions and purchase orders are sometimes not properly approved, resulting in unauthorized expenditure and or overspending against budgets. BPM manages the expectations by enforcing approval hierarchies using multiple organograms. There's sometimes a difficulty to approve processes without the supporting documentation, which would result in delays in approvals which would occur due to a lack of proper documentation. BPM has the functionality to electronically attach or view supporting documentation at any stage of the approval process. Users don't have the knowledge to accurately code financial transactions. This is where the end user could select an incorrect GL account, for example. So transactions are captured by the finance and not by operational staff where the transaction originates. Sage allows pre-population on the input screens that restricts data entry options, once again based on those security levels set up by the users. Then for this session, we did a bit of a delve into the feature set comparison between BPM for Sage and Advanced Procurement. So when we look at a Sage Advanced Procurement, one of the features are that we could procure processes are flexible and user-friendly. You could create requisitions with multiple levels of approval and request quotations from linked suppliers in Sage Evolution. In BPM for Sage, the procurement process is also flexible and user-friendly. The graphical the business process builder enables drag and drop capabilities to build approval workflows. Workflows can also accommodate organizational hierarchy, and individual activities can accommodate business logic to route exceptions. Some of these examples are whether there's available budget, the expenditure type, or even cost center approvals. You can also request quotations from registered compliant vendors in National Treasury Central Supplier Database without having to create these suppliers in Sage Evolution, and only link these suppliers to Sage Evolution once you award the contract. This means there's no unnecessary vendor data that will be kept within the ERP if the supplier was not awarded. In Sage Advanced Procurement, the RFQ process and supplier rotation is made simple and easy to use. Where in BPM for Sage, the intuitive user interface provides you easy navigation of steps and negates the need for excessive data entry. We also limit data entry fields according to role, driving down additional training costs required for upskilling. With Advanced Procurement, they feature a web module which makes use of your web browser as a user interface and connects to your Sage Evolution database through the Evolution Freedom Service. Whereas BPM for Sage is a browser-based solution by default with free mobile app availability for download from the Android and Apple stores. Sage Advanced Procurement allows you to provide motivation if deviation occurs from recommended vendors. Whereas BPM for Sage, it is mandatory motivation which is enabled should a customer opt for quotation not ranked as number one. Sage Advanced Procurement automatically calculates supplier scores, compares and evaluates quotes and suppliers per automated criteria, including the preferential procurement point system. Quotation parameters, in addition to RFQ parameters, can determine how quotations are managed and compared according to triple BEE or pricing. Whereas in BPM for Sage, it's pre-built to run in accordance with Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act, where we could compare and evaluate quotes and suppliers per automated criteria, including the preferential procurement point system. Sage Advanced Procurement enables budget validation on approval using Sage Evolution annual budgets. Whereas in BPM for Sage, one requisition can contain multiple line items for various cost centers, and subsequently, budget validation per line item is easily accommodated for. Budget checking also validates on open purchase orders awaiting receipt and can even be set up to view open requisitions if required. In Sage Advanced Procurement, supplier preference user-defined fields enables organizations to determine if suppliers should be rotation according to their tax clearance, triple BE levels, or HDI. whereas in BPM for Sage, suppliers are rotated based on the commodity selected for purchase. The CSD plugin ensures that suppliers are pre-selected for RFQ invitation, thus ensuring that PFMA purchasing principles are adhered to. Only National Treasury CSD compliant suppliers are included for rotations. Sage Advanced Procurement restricts suppliers who don't participate in RFQ processes and prevent them from further rotations in Sage Evolution. Whereas in BPM for Sage, additional supplier rotation sets are easily added to a RFQ if more quotations need to be obtained in the event of limited participation from suppliers, for example. One can report on vendors failing to participate in order to request investigation from National Treasury. With that said, once again, thank you for joining us, and please be sure to join us for part two of this series that will be happening in the next few weeks. And if you have any further questions that was not addressed, please reach out to us at the About IT via their channels or to set up a detailed demonstration.